doing a blog on healthy eating, but just to let you know, I just had a few snakes for breakfast this morning. I'm sure that's given me a glucose spike. But I'm here for the chemistry, okay? So I'm not saying I eat healthy at all or care that much, but there's this reasonably good report, I guess, by BBC. I guess they've done their fair insight into what the research is. I'll show you how bad the research is in a second, but they didn't actually tell me where the research was, so I almost had to do like a lit review. And basically, they've said that if you reheat your rice, and they've even done the chemistry here, which is quite nice, that the amylose molecules are not easily as digested due to forming hydrogen bonds, so the enzymes can't activate them. And so if you basically cook rice 40 minutes with some oil and let it cool, it'll increase the resistant starch, and so your body will cool it down slower and you won't get the glucose into your bloodstream as fast. It'll be healthier. Yeah, I'm pretty sure those snakes I just had for breakfast don't have resistant starch but pure glucose into my bloodstream. So what is concerning is that they've sort of moved on now, and so the research, everyone's sort of looking into how the microbes in your gut respond to starch, which seems to be good. They seem to release chemicals that are actually healthy for you. So that's rather interesting. Another argument for why your research investigations don't need to have recent research, because they've already moved on. They've moved off and now they're moving on to another random thing that's completely uncontrolled. So there are two good articles. Ironically, one's from China that's done fairly well, and the other one's from maybe India. Going by those surnames, they seem to be the best ones. What's concerning, what are these Kim, Ru, Hong, Asian sort of last names again? I'm not going to go into too much detail, but what's concerning is how they did things. Who has a pressure rice cooker? This is the rice cooker that we use, and I'm pretty sure most Asian households just have this standard rice cooker that Uncle Roger would approve of, and Gordon Ramsay in making fried rice. So you've got to cook rice and let it cool, which basically means you should be cooking too much rice, don't we? And it works for pasta to those who prefer more European style starch sauces. So just overcook your pasta and reheat it, and it'll do the same thing, give you more resistant starch. But look at what they've done here. And then they dried it at 90 degrees, for 4 hours. Look at this. Who does that? It's just completely artificial. And if you look at it, most studies have done these weird things to it, adding all these weird chemicals to it. First of all, how significant is it? Get a 10% increase, maybe a double from 8% to 16%. So if you're hungry and you eat double the amount of rice, it's kind of pointless anyway. Yeah, so the research is rather concerning, as most people are doing all of these sort of chemical analysis of what resistant starch is and how it behaves. There's the classical definitions of how many minutes it takes to convert to glucose, even though in vitro studies say it takes like 5 to 7 hours actually to show up in the bloodstream. Still, the definitions we're using are completely in the test tube, 120 minutes for the glucose to come out under enzyme analysis. And I saw one study, I can't see it now, there was 28, and I was quite shocked. I don't know where I put that study, sorry. But this one here shows very few studies done in human beings, which at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is if it's done in what actually happens in real life. And these studies are using 10 people. So, it's all very dodgy. Combinations of foods is not taken into account. So, it's almost, all the research is almost invalid, to be honest. But let's not deal with that. Okay, hence I'm eating my snakes for breakfast and not caring much about what these studies actually say. But of interest here is the crystalline. So let's just get to the hard chemistry here. The As with all of the, as I was talking about fats in class, these areas are very accessible. So these amorphous regions the enzymes can break in. These here, there's lots of hydrogen bonds and they become more crystalline, and so the enzymes can't attack them. So when you heat and reheat, it allows a lot of the strands to reform, forming these crystalline areas, and that makes those areas much harder for the enzymes to attack, and hence it takes longer. And this is when the amylose strands come off, when you cook them and reform in these areas here. So you don't actually lose them per se. They don't get washed out, although some people were washing it in the colander. If you watch Uncle Roger's videos, attacks on how people make fried rice, and you'll see that will obviously make it harder for the enzymes to attack. And then they're adding all these weird chemicals to it as well, causing linkages and basically blocking the enzymes from accessing the areas they need to. All right, so there's the chemistry behind it. Basically, the amylose strands in a three-dimensional structure. Here, all these things, these areas here that are also accessible to enzymes, when you heat and cool them, they reform tighter bonds, interlinking, blocking enzymes. All right, hope that is of interest. It's hard to find. Is that chemistry? Yeah, barely. All right, most of topic 4 is just biology, but trying to get some chemistry in there. All right, thank you.